Alright. 0.14.8.5 settings video. 800 hour Kappa. Here's proof, obviously. Alright. Start off with game. Quick slots, stamina, and health condition always shown. That's going to be the stuff at your top, bottom left, and top left. You always want this stuff shown because you always want to know if you have like a low body part. You want to know if you're low on stamina, and you want to know what stuff you're keybinded to, because sometimes Tarkov will only heal you about 45 out of 60 on like your leg, and you won't know it. Like right now, my legs are 59 out of 65. I can barely even tell. And for the stamina, it's stamina plus it's aiming stamina. You want to know when you're low on that so you know when to unaim. And then, as I said, the top is just for your hotbar. And then you want to turn automatic RAM cleaner off. This is because automatic RAM cleaner, if you notice, all of my items, all of this, if I had my automatic RAM cleaner on, all of this would be a spinning wheel. Because what the automatic RAM clear does is it clears your what is it called? It's not stored memory, it's your unstored memory, which is all these items, all of these pictures and stuff. All of these would be spinning wheels. I didn't figure that out until I turned off RAM cleaner, and it is really annoying when all your items are just spinning wheels. So you want to turn that off. You do not want to have only use physical cores on, especially if you're using an Intel CPU. Only physical cores isn't going to use your E cores, your efficiency cores, and that could half or 1/3 your CPU's power. For FOV, put it on 75. There are some people who play on 55, but then again, they're fucking dog shit at the game. Okay, let's keep going. Turn all of these off except malfunction notifications. You don't need, I mean, you could use blocked group invites. Doesn't really matter. Preload hideout, never use. Longer loading times in and out of raids. Now, we go to graphics. I have a 2K monitor, 2560 by 1440. Doesn't really matter. I personally play on 4.3, used to play on 16 by 10, but 4 clean, to me, is cleaner, first of all. And secondly, enemies are just thicker in general. It is a placebo effect, technically, but I personally like it when enemies are thicker. I play on borderless screen mode. That's because when I tab out, you see my window doesn't close. The window is always open. And then monitor is just whatever monitor you use. Graphics quality is going to be on custom here, so it's going to be all the way to the left. VSync is off, because you don't want... Honestly, it shouldn't even matter, because Tarkov caps it at 144 FPS. Texture quality is low. Shadows are low. Object LOD quality is at 2.5. This is going to be how far away stuff loads in and out of your view distance. This also includes, if my friend would step out, this also includes shadows. So you see that clock above him? That is object LOD. If I had it high, that object would not load in. But as I get closer, you'll see the shadows slowly and slowly make it darker and darker over here. Like that. This is also paired with shadow quality. Shadow quality is going to make shadows darker. This helps in a variety of cases, like when you're peeking like this. You can see, I mean, I can just juggle peek and see him instantly. We'll demonstrate this with a bag later, object LOD quality. But he is perfectly visible, 30 meters out with no shadows. Alright. Now, back to this. Overall visibility is, I put it to 400. It literally does nothing. There is no instance in Tarkov where you're going to need it more than that. The only thing it's ever going to affect, as you can see on my screen, is aiming in and out. If you want your game to look super clean at a risk of maybe 5 frames, you can turn it to 2500 or 25, yeah, 2500. but it has no effect other than visually. Anti-aliasing. This is a very, very talked on topic. Personally, I like anti-aliasing off, because when you use smoothing, it's gonna, 1, take away FPS, but 2, it's gonna smooth things. So, for example, if there was a guy with the pixel of his head peeking over this, if you had anti-aliasing on TLSS, or whatever they have, I don't use it. Yeah, TAA. People use TAA high. If I have that on, his head is gonna be smoothed. So, on this aiming out, you're not gonna see it. There's a lot of instances where it just makes your game blurrier, lowers your FPS, and has no actual impact other than nerfing your gameplay. That is why I have it off. Resampling, 1x off. DLSS off. AMD FSR 2.2 off. I don't think anyone's ever used that in any game. HBAO off. SSR off. Filtering off. NVIDIA low latency. There was a glitch where NVIDIA low latency was having a heavy impact on your game. The only thing NVIDIA low latency does is it impacts your CPU. There's really... There's really only a 1 to 2 FPS difference whenever you use it. It impacts your CPU. So let's say you have a 6-core CPU. You do not want to use NVIDIA low latency on plus boost. You probably just want to use on. But if you have more than 6 cores on your CPU in 2024, there is no reason not to use NVIDIA low latency. It improves, I think, up to 10 milliseconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in reality it just is. But that's what it does. Essentially, it pulls from your CPU. I have my sharpness on 0.6, lobby FPS 60, game FPS 144, and then this, MIP streaming and MIP streaming disk usage. You will not see this if you don't have MIP streaming on. So go ahead and turn it on, and don't mess with these settings, because where it's at currently is pretty perfect. High quality colors. Some people use this, I personally don't. The only reason I don't use it is because on labs, there's those, if you've ever played labs, there's the tints by black and green with the, or just black, with the purple, like, glowing lights. What high quality color does is it spreads the light out more. It is another thing that just nerfs your gameplay with no impact other than visually looking pleasing. Z-blur off, chrome aberrations off, or aberrations, noise off, grass shadows off. I also use Streets of Tarkov lower resolution mode. No reason you shouldn't be using this no matter what settings, PC, anything. And then finally, probably most importantly, is post-FX. 85 brightness, 100 saturation, 90 clarity, 85 colorfulness, 70 sharpen, 70 sharpen, color grading on boost, 70. And then no colorblind mode. This doesn't matter. Give you a second to copy that. Alright. And now on to sound. I have my overall volume at 100, interface at 30, and everything else on 0. Music on RAID end is it's off. Binaural audio is on. Even though they fixed the audio poppage, it is not completely 100% fixed. Just yet. I have enable VoIP on and microphone volume 100. There's nothing special in my controls other than my sensitivity. I have mouse sensitivity 0.43 and then aiming sensitivity 0.5. The only reason I have it on 0.5 is when you're using like scopes, variable scopes. It's kind of a drag to like sit there and move your mouse super far. It's just easier to have it a tiny bit higher. The only special thing I have on all of my controls is I have check magazine or check ammo. I have it on double click T. because it's just way easier to do that than I think the default, which is Control-T. Alright. And then now, alright, now we're going to demonstrate some object LOD stuff. So my friend is going to stand right here. I should have a rangefinder for this, but we're just going to guesstimate here. Alright. Alright. Here's the perfect example of why object LOD is insanely important. I'm about 50 to 75 meters out, and if you see on my screen, he no longer has a helmet. His bald ass head is sticking out like a sore thumb. This, I abuse the shit out of this, because at this distance, if I scope in, he has a helmet, but if I scope out, it's just his bald head. And if you've ever been in a dark environment and you're quickly running past and you see a bald, white, shiny head, it's an instant indication that there's someone there. That is a big way I abuse object LOD. And the reason I don't have it on 2, because if I had it on 2, technically I could be closer without him having a helmet. The reason I have it on 2 is if he dropped his bag. You can see bags super far on object LOD 2.5. I don't even know if the couch bag despawns. Oh, it does. So I'm about 100 meters out right now. I'm scoping in and I can't see anything. But the second I take a few steps, it shows up. But on object LOD 2, you have to get super close for that bag to spawn in without scoping in. I'm back at like about 75 meters. And this
60 meters.
60 meters. But this is what object LOD 2 does. I'm like 30 meters out and he still doesn't have a helmet. But you also lose just seeing bags easier. And bag finding sometimes is the hardest thing in the world. So yeah. That's all the settings I really use to hit Kappa with 800 hours. And there you go.